Gillian Keegan.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. It is a great pleasure to follow the Honourable Lady for Swansea. She made a powerful speech and, in particular, bring us back to focus on the children and the plight and rights of children, something which was deeply upsetting to all of us. It's also a great pleasure to follow most people who've spoken in this debate. It's one of my favourite debates to take part in because the speeches are so poignant and so meaningful and so personal. And it really does show this House at its best, and in particular to follow the maiden speeches, the excellent maiden speeches of my honourable friends from Bassetlaw and Blackpool South, and I too have fond memories of the annual pilgrimage to Blackpool Illuminations, living just down the road in Liverpool. And it is a great honour to take part in this debate and to take this opportunity to remember the actions of those brave people who saved the lives of Jewish people during the Holocaust, and also ensure that those human stories are not forgotten. And it's why it's so important that we're all here to remember the human cost and the human bravery and the human stories. And I'd like to take the opportunity to tell one of those stories. And it's about a young boy, a child. And the story is set in Belgium in 1943. And a young boy clutches to his mother and his sister on a train. And terrified of what awaits them at the end of the tracks, this small family were joined by 1,631 others that day, all being transported to Auschwitz. Now, unlike the many trains that came before them and the many that followed, this particular train did not reach its destination without incident. And in this particular case, some people escaped. The brave actions of 3 resistance fighters stopped the train, giving 223 people a chance of escape. And the small boy's mother took her chance, saw what was happening, and pushed her son from the train while it was still moving. He, along with 108 of the 223 that did manage to escape, he escaped with his life. And this was the last time that the 11-year-old boy saw his mother and his sister, who, like the majority on the train, made it to the end of the line, where the gas chambers awaited them. The boy was called Simon Granovsky, is called Simon Granovsky, and he survived the war, and I've had the honour of getting to know him over the past couple of years. The last year, many honourable and right honourable friends joined me here in Speaker's House, where we hosted a performance of the opera Push that tells his remarkable story. And sitting next to Simon for the performance was one of those memories that will live with me forever. And seeing his story brought to life, and now has been shown many times, was truly remarkable. And what was remarkable about his story was that actually at the end he went back to Belgium, found the neighbour who had shopped his family to the police and forgave him. He was asked for forgiveness and he forgave him. So the darkest hours in human history have been fuelled by a false narrative of difference, ignoring the fact that actually has been said in this chamber by the Honourable Member Jo Cox. We have much more in common, and we ignore the fact that we are all human at the end of the day. And clearly this is wrong, and it undermines our society, and it's brought the greatest shame on humanity throughout our collective history. And Holocaust Memorial Day asks us to look at the horrors of our past and to remember and to learn. And this year's theme is Stand Together, emphasising the point that standing shoulder to shoulder, humanity has done and will do exceptional things. We have wiped out diseases, we've ended wars, and we've connected the world from east to west. I am proud to say that Chichester is standing with people across the world. A group of local volunteers have organised several special events to mark this year's Memorial Day. And before I go on, I wanted to thank Councillors Claire Apel and Martin Bell, Trevor James, Ralph Apel, Jill Hoskins, Sionara Davis, Jonathan Golden, Andrew Smith and Mark Schwartz for all of their hard work in Chichester to make sure Holocaust Memorial Day is marked, and is marked with distinction. This year there are 2 special performances of Push held on Monday at the Chichester Festival Theatre. So actually we've gone up now from from Speaker's House to one of the main theatres in the country. And I'm told this is completely sold out. As well as another showing, which is going to be organised, or has been organised, by the Snowdrop Trust charity, which is going to take place at Westbourne House School, which is a local prep school, and all the children are very excited to have that there, and that will take place on the 15th of February. Having been so involved with this production last year, I know how powerful the story is, bringing to life the reality of an unimaginable situation. And this story is perhaps even more relevant this year as we mark 75 years since the liberation of Auschwitz on the 27th of January 1945. Holocaust Memorial Day also gives us the opportunity to learn about genocide more widely, and it's been mentioned today by a number of members. And we explore how these regimes fracture societies and marginalise certain groups. And we all know that this still exists and goes on today. I'll be learning more about this when I attend Chichester's New Park Cinema on Sunday for a showing of the film Enemies of the People. It tells the story of one of the most brutal and genocidal regimes the world has ever known, the Khmer Rouge of Cambodia. The film interviews some of the perpetrators whose murderous socialist regime invented the killing fields. The film tries to get behind the reasoning of the genocide, which killed 25% of the Cambodian population. And the director, Rob Lemkin, will be attending the performance in Chichester to host a question and answer session afterwards, and we'd like to thank him for that. Given that we know from our history the horror that hate and discrimination brings, a resurgence of anti-Semitism in the UK today seems unthinkable. Yet sadly, it seems to be rearing its ugly head across our society, and we've heard several examples of that in this debate today. The rise of virulent anti-Semitism on social media platforms is truly appalling, and I want to take this opportunity to praise the brave members of our Jewish community who have taken a stand against it. People like Rachel Riley, Tracy Ann Oberman and Stephen Pollard, all of whom deserve our respect and support for taking on these people who hide behind anonymity and perpetrate hate. I would like to add my voice to theirs and for all those who call for love over hate, and assure you the people of Chichester stand together with you. Thank you.